If you're not in the top 10, you always want to blame something else. Superbike's such a brutal class. There's not one rider there on the grid that's not a fast rider. I woke up, I was like, I'm champion now. I don't have to answer to anyone. It was wicked. So I'm Australian when Australia's winning.
I'll tell you what, you've got to love this place, haven't you? This is the best circuit in the UK and one of the best people in the UK, even though he's not a Brit.
Well, pretty much now.
Well, you might as well be, haven't you?
Yeah, got a British passport, half and half. So my mum's from England. So, basically I've been here more than half my life now.
So we can clash you as one of ours?
Yeah. I'm Australian when Australia's winning. And when the British win, I say I'm British. It's a bit like you British do with like Andy Murray and that in the tennis.
With him being Scottish.
Yeah, he's Scottish when he loses Wimbledon, but he's British when he wins.
Ladies and gentlemen, a man who needs absolutely no introduction whatsoever, but we will. C&L Fairburn, Jackson Racing, Billy McConnell, Billby, welcome to the show, mate. How are you?
Good, mate. Thanks for having us.
You're very welcome. First of all, Charlie, congratulations, Daddy.
Yep.
What fantastic news.
Yeah, it was hectic there. So my missus Nadine, she's back in Australia. We only found out that she was pregnant a week before I left to come back to the UK. And the plan was for her, because she can't work in the UK, obviously it's a nightmare to do the whole working visas and stuff like that when we're here for 8-9 months and go back for a bit, and it's expensive to do that. So found that out, which was fantastic anyway, because we didn't think we were going to be able to have children. So that was great news on its own. And then so she stayed there working. She just took a new job on running a restaurant there, La Vida in Adelaide. And then his due date was 15th of September. So after this weekend, we're sort of planning on going back and having him induced and then trying to bring it on so I could be there for the birth. And little Charlie had other plans. Nadine's water broke on a Sunday at work, and then didn't know there was no contractions or nothing. Went to hospital and they said we can keep him in for a bit. You got to stay in here, antibiotics and steroids to produce him and help bring him on. And then my sister's like, I don't think you're going to be able to wait till after Cadwell. She goes, I suggest you get on the plane and go. So we booked a flight on the Tuesday at 10 in the morning. We're on the plane at 2 in the afternoon with all the stopovers and stuff like that. We got to Melbourne on Wednesday night, but had a 10-hour layover. So I thought, you best not start now and come now. Look, I've made it all the way to Australia and I looked at a rent-a-car, but still 10-hour drive from there. So yeah, got back to Adelaide at 9 in the morning. Dad picked me up, took me to the hospital, and then at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, she started having contractions, and at 8:45 he come out, and I was there and watching the whole job, and amazing respect to women and all that, watching all that come through, and sort of, I think as a I didn't know how I'd feel about it all, but watching the baby come out, and I think that's the first, as a father, you sort of realise that it's all true and it's all happening, and you see that little person come out and as part of you and them there, and it was surreal, and it was amazing to be there for it, and managed to get 4 days there with him and spend a bit of time in hospital while he was in the incubator and all that, and then tonight he's been released, so he's broke out the big house, so he's back at home, and he's taken to the nipple and the breastfeeding really well, and so I couldn't be more proud of both of them.
Fantastic. When do you get home again?
I don't get home until the day after the last round. So
so you're here now for the duration.
7 weeks now until I get to see him. So unless you can find anyone with Qantas or Emirates fly points, I'll be quite happy.
Is anybody that can help a brother out?
Yeah,
he needs to see his little boy and Nad, of course.
Yeah, it was it was £1,600 just for a one-way flight there to get there. So can't be doing that every week. Unfortunately, the budget doesn't allow for that. And then, as much as you want to be there, it was sort of it was crazy. So it's sort of missing those opportunities going back, and I've been missing out on a lot of things to choose the career of choose the path of trying to be a motorcycle racer and trying to do the best. So we got things to do here, and Nadine's doing such a good job, and next year they'll be over here full time, so cutting about with his Billby shirt on. So looking for the days.
That's good news, because I was going to ask you about next year, because you never know how the arrival of Charlie affects things, and maybe you want to go home, or you've got work to do here and you've got a job on here as well, haven't you? So that's great to know that you'll still be here next season.
Well,
you're aiming to be here next season.
We'll be here no matter what. Yeah, so as long as Chris takes us again. So it's, this has been, I think it might be my 19th season over here now. It's made a lot of friends and good people here, and it's a good environment to bring your kids up in as well, to see your dad or your someone out there trying to do their best and in a sport, and you're probably too young to ever remember it, but at least we can get some pictures and look back at it. So.
You got a few more years yet, Billby.
Yeah.
You're not done yet.
Yeah, I'll keep going until everyone's had enough of me.
That's not going to happen, is it? There's one of the most popular fellas in the paddock. It's always you've always got a smile on your face, even when things haven't been so great. But this season, it's not been too bad a year, has it?
Well, I'm still smiling. It's been a terrible year. Yeah, we've had.
You've got your win. That was important to get the win as well and put yourself back on the top of the box. Tell us about the season from the pilot seat.
The start of the season. We had bad luck last year as well. We had 3 DNFs from getting taken out last year, and that cost us. This year we were the first race getting taken out. At Silverstone last year. So when we got a third in the first race, we're like, wow, we're doing better than we did last year. But it was just the complete opposite. We crashed on some fluids in the second race, so we end up walking away with the same score. But yeah, we had a fuel pipe fall off in Donington, or had a break in it, or whatever the case was with it. And that's when we did our gender reveal. But luckily that was a quick fix. Clicked it back on, and we got to do the gender reveal with the blue smoke on the tyre. So that was pretty cool. And then... yeah, it's been a trying year, but I've been in it such a long time now. I think it's if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. We just keep turning up, keep trying our best, and enjoy it. I think if you beat yourself up in between all the things, if this was this and that was that, things could be better. But as long as every day when I get picked up off the ground and I'm all fit and well, that's the main thing. We get to go again. So I just enjoy. I think I'm just enjoying a lot more of my racing lately, and life in general, and the people around me, the people that have dragged me out to make this team happen, being Chris, and formulated a team around me when we had nothing and cut short out of it. So it's and every day I walk in the garage, we sort of know we got an extra teammate this year with Simon coming on. Great kid. Me and him get on really, really well. So and it's good. But yeah, the Hondas, obviously, there's a lot more on the grid, which everyone's on the same bike then. So it's almost like going back to the R6 Cup. So where last year I think it was like me, Davey, and maybe Richard Kerr on it, but now there's 10 people out there on the same bike. So, it's a good thing and a bad thing sometimes, because when you're not doing so well, you got to question that it's yourself, because you're almost on the same equipment as everyone else. So, we're here at Cadwell. We're on the mountain, which I'm terrible at. Shannon, my old crew chief, calls me Eddie the Eagle over this, so I was going to get a special custom-made helmet for her, but we didn't get enough time for that. But I always generally go really well here, Cadwell. It's a local round for the team, and yeah, it's fantastic. We're here on setup day at the moment, which is Friday today. Yeah, get confused with the bank holidays, and. You're looking out, it's all beautiful countryside, and then by this time tomorrow, it should be rammed and flooded with people with tents and that. So it's definitely the party in the park, and when you do have a good result around here, riding around, it's pretty cool buzz.
I can imagine that, because it's one of the few places here in kind of Mountain Park where the crowd is so close. Yeah. Especially going up through turn 1, and then as you come through the little amphitheatre that we've got here and Hall Bends, the reception from the crowd, you always get a good reception wherever you go, but here especially is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's definitely cool, and probably the only benefit of probably being in Superstock or Supersport is you don't have to walk up and down that hill to those main garages down there. So we don't mind being up there in the normal bit where you don't have to make the curfew to get down in between the tracks. So we're hoping for a good weekend. It's just such a shame with Superstock. I think we provide some good racing and full grid, and it's just a bit frustrating sometimes when we only get the one race on a weekend. So we were actually going to bust the Supersport bike out this weekend, Davo's TT bike, but we sort of didn't get enough. We had a little test on a Tuesday, but it was just a bit too busy. We didn't get enough indication whether it would be, I'd be able to push up hard enough on it. And then, but yeah, I'd love to do both classes in a weekend. That would be something pretty cool. Just to get a bit, because we got one 15-minute session on the Sunday, and then one race on the Monday, and being the local round, we sort of wanted to have a bit more to keep the sponsors, everyone, cheering up and happy about. So, but yeah, just on the Superstock bike this weekend. So hoping that we can have a real good one.
Do you miss a Supersport bike as former British Supersport champion, and all the success you had on it, and battling Steve Plater over the years, and the joys that you had on it? Do you miss riding the little bike?
Yeah, absolutely. Had a little ride on it the other week. The Supersport bikes are fantastic. When we were on Supersport bikes, that's when the Supersport rules were, absolute, pretty much savage with engine rebuilds. It was almost 1,500 kilometres on an engine, and when I was riding for Smiths, it was it was a top class team. Absolutely love the Smith family, and everything that we wanted on the bike went on the bike, and those Triumphs. And I was test rider for Triumph for 11 years, and it just felt so cool to be part of that whole thing, and then being such a competitive rider and always a bridesmaid as well. I've been second and third in probably about 15 years of my championship race, and it was my first win in 2014, and it was as much as I thought it would mean to be British Championship, and nice it was. It was just nice to pick up on the Monday morning. The phone wasn't people telling me why I wasn't British Championship, and if I didn't do this and I didn't do that, I just had to. I woke up and I was like, I'm champion now. I don't have to answer to anyone. It was wicked. So definitely missed the super sport bike. I definitely would love to have a crack. I definitely would like to have a crack at doing super stock and super sport. That would be pretty cool.
Because you can manage that?
I think so. The boys do it at the TT. Brooksy and Adam Ferguson and all that used to do that in Australia. Brooksy was super sport and Superbike Championship in the same year. So, I thought that'd be cool to try to do here. Glenn, Youngie, all that used to do it back in the day. So, it'd be cool. It'd be cool to do it. Absolutely.
Well, what do you think about the lads that you see now that are coming through Superstock rather than going through Supersport? Young Joe Talbot, Richard Kerr's quick, Franco Bourne's been through this year. You're one of the elder statesmen, along with Linney, who we had on back at Brands, and these boys aren't taking any prisoners, are they? They're keeping you honest.
No, I think all the British Championship's known for being ruthless and so competitive in every class. I think but mind you, Superstock is really competitive now as well. But I think say that you still bolt the kit stuff on, the kit loom and all that, but it's the manual for the HRC kit loom and stuff is it's like a Bible that long, with all the stuff you can do to it, and you barely scratch the surface on it. Whereas Super Sport, you sort of you get the Motec on that. You need the good electronics guys to work all those little bits out, the same as super bikes. I think the rules are changing in Super Sport. I'm not too sure about. I know when we did it, we had Tim Seed on the Smith's bike, that is O'Halloran and the boys electronics guy, which is that's sort of what you needed back then. I'm not too sure. I've been a while since I've been in the Supersport game, but that's why I think a lot of people go the Superstock route. Seems to be a lot. Probably I don't know about price wise, because I'd probably say they're about the same price now to build and upkeep now with the less engine changes and stuff. But it is you basically put some suspension in front and rear, and you can put the your telemetry pods on and all that, but you still got different modes, different maps, ABs, engine brakes, stuff you can change in Superstock. So you still need the same sort of input to be at the front now, in Superstock and Supersport and everything. So it's good to have all the classes. It'd be nice if the Superstock was a British Championship, which is actually a national championship, and the trophies are a lot smaller than the British Championship, which is, there's
no less effort to get the trophy, is it?
And there's less prize money in the Superstock class. So, the Supersport's always got a place in my heart, because I'm probably that older sort of rider where I grew up. It used to be Supersport, Superbike,
100%.
And now it's sort of toss up in between Supersport, Superstock. But I think the 600 class is fantastic. But I think there's not many manufacturers making the sports bikes now. So Supersport bikes, the Triumphs are hybrid, 765 street triple. The Caddies are 900, I think, is it? And then you got they dug the old 750 out the woodwork, where they're a fantastic bike, and it's absolutely perfect for that, because you got the 750, you don't have to do as many engine rebuilds, and they've always been known for their handling, but always lack power on the 600.
Yeah.
So the 750 is a great bike. The Honda is sort of unproven, I guess, because it is a 600 against the bigger ones. The Yamaha has always been a top bike, top super sport bike since they've come out. So, and I think it's the same. I think as soon as someone does well on something, that's the bike. Everyone needs one of them and needs that. So, everyone's gone Honda because a few people at the front, which is a fantastic bike. But then, Tim Neve, he was leading the championship on the Yamaha before he hurt himself. So, I think, sometimes you can get different manufacturers up the front. So depending on the people around you, I think.
The rules are finding the way, aren't they?
Yeah.
I've seen that out the corner. I couldn't get rid of it. I'm trying to bat it away. Is it me, or is it my contact lenses? I couldn't quite see which one it was. How do you stay motivated after all these seasons? What keeps driving you on to, standing on top of the box last week at Thruxton was fantastic. And it just seems that the motivation is there. You, in the nicest possible way, you haven't grown up. It's been great.
I love it. I ride a motorcycle pretty much every single day of my life. So, and this has been such a massive part of my life. It's almost scary to think that I don't know what I'm going to do after it. Sometimes I think about it, and then I'm a test rider, so it's not, I wouldn't consider a normal job because I still get to ride. But when I go back and mechanic and work full time for my dad and stuff back there, and I'm like, am I ready to do this every day and then go spend my money that I've earned all week to go ride? And it scares the hell out of me, really. It's been such a massive part of my life. I still feel like I haven't grown up. I do still feel like that 22-year-old kid. And then it's not until see Joe Talbot and that, I was probably winning races when he was about 8 or something, and it's scary. But that's, I used to look at the Glenn Richards like that, when he was sort of my, I used to live and train with him and that. So if I can help the kids and role model with them, I'm not as upset as I used to be when I used to get crash or have a bad weekend or the bike blows up. I'm just happy to be here racing a motorcycle and, earning a few quid out of it and living the dream. Yesterday we were at a charity golf game on a beautiful golf course. Invited through motorcycle racing. My sponsor, we're up flying around in his helicopter, dropping off some passes today. It's these opportunities come through racing the bike and being a part of the motorcycle community, And then when I was with Triumph, we're going away doing press launches with Gareth Bright, Woodcote events, and going to some beautiful places through motorcycle racing. So to think that it's going to come to an end, it really does.
Don't think about
does
that,
upset
Billby.
me and scares me. So,
Billby, don't think about that.
So probably make me start crying thinking about it. But I ain't retiring.
That's the main thing. Are you not at Triumph anymore?
No. Basically, there was the work sort of stopped there for me a little bit with the COVID sort of thumb, and then there was an opportunity to go to Royal Enfield. So at Royal Enfield now. So and the boss Steve, Randall, who runs me at Royal Enfield, he mechanics at the Hawk.
Yeah.
I say Billby Suzuki then. That's so. But it's everyone sort of from all the motorcycle community is all sort of there and thereabouts. But
the thing that you find with this paddock and motorcycle racing in general, there's only 2 degrees of separation from pretty much anybody. There's always somebody, if you don't know them, there's somebody that can introduce you.
Yeah.
It's such a great little community.
Yeah, it's such a small world as well. Someone knows someone and knows that, and it's I love it. I really do.
How can you not? Tell us about Thruxton, because that was so good to see you back on top of the box.
Thruxton was awesome. Like I said at the start of the year, I sort of know that I can be a front runner, on most days. This year, we I don't know, maybe, we didn't get the best testing at the start of the year, and then it was a knock-on effect with the, getting kicked out the race in the second race when we crashed on fluid. We're actually sliding along the floor when the red flag come out. They put us up in 4th, but then obviously they take a screenshot of the image, and if you're not active on track, that's it, you're out the race. So I understand the rules, but it was heart-wrenching because you see yourself in there and thought, oh yeah, that's all right, cool, we're in there. Because the old rule used to go back a lap, but I didn't feel like I was involved in incidents. I was the only one that crashed on the fluid. So then you sort of get a bit beat up from there. You're trying to build yourself up because you're losing points to Dan Linfoot, which is Mr. Consistent, front runner all the time, Kerr, all the boys there. And that's what we lost a lot of points last year from bad luck. So we thought, this year's our year. And then sort of didn't really get much better from there. And it wasn't until Thruxton. So flew back and then, just had my little boy, and I was sort of fired up. And then I had this silly longer mullet growing, and I said I wasn't going to cut it from the start of the year until I won a race, and it was really, really annoying me.
Tickling the back.
And then I didn't really have the pace most all weekend. I sort of know I'm more of a racer, and Thruxton's a long race, and I'm always known for the Billby smoking up the rear tyre. It looks cool, but it doesn't win the races at the end of the race. And then got a good start, and then midway, I got a good qualifying session, qualified second in the wet, and then I got through the race, and I was on Linny's back wheel, and no one really wants to lead around then. We all start rolling once you've got a gap from the back to try to conserve the tyre. And then coming on to the last lap, I said, I feel like I can have this. And then it's all about the last bit in the church, and got a good slip, and then got it and crossed the line. It was almost like a delayed reaction that, it was like emotional of, coming back from Australia, winning the race, and then it was, it was such a night, because you're not just doing it for yourself, you're doing it for the whole team. Everyone's there believing you, backing you up. All my family back home, my missus, she's going through all this on her own, so I can be here doing this. So, it was just such a nice feeling to to get it done. And then as soon as that's done, you almost go, need to back it up tomorrow now.
What's
so
next?
I won the race on the Sunday. We sort of in the same sort of boat there, and then I got into second, and Richard was leading for a bit, and then the last time I was in third, we had 2.5 second gap to fourth, and then so Lenny was in third this time, and then once he passed me, because we were sort of rolling, once he passed me, he sort of caught me off guard because he just went like dropped the hammer, and then I come past, saw my pit board 0.8, so I thought that group's coming, and you don't know if it's 1 or 10 around Thruxton. And because he come through and dropped the hammer that quick, he just caught me completely off guard. And I just went back to old Billby, just trying to give it everything I had. And I was just smoking everywhere. I said, I'm done. Like, I can't catch that gap. And then literally, the heavens had a little bit of a drizzle. And I know Thruxton's grippy, and they sort of backed off. And I just did normal. When I was on the back wheel, I was like, second chance here. And then just overcooked church, hit a bump going in, just spun it on the way out, and just didn't have enough run for the last one. But a first and a third was the first weekend that we've had a double, and I finished both races. So for me, it was a good weekend.
It was a good fun racing with Lenny. You've been around the paddock nearly as long as you have. He's an old stager. He knows how to play it.
Yeah, he was a bit upset from the move, but I was up the inside, and it was trying to close the door there like you do around there. But we got respect for each other. We've been doing it a long time, raced against each other. There's nothing silly there. It's close, but I think I think it would have been a lot better if he got second. It wouldn't be such a kick in the what. Yeah. So I think that's what hurts is when you lose points to your rival, because I'm nowhere in the. I think I might be 5th in the championship now. Yeah. So for me, it would be no loss to lose a few points to me, but then when Richard got through as well, is when it hurts him.
That's when it's.
But we're just having a chat there. He's asking me about my baby, and that Lenny's done a lot of press events with me stuff before, so we've spent a lot of time together and got a lot of time for Dan.
It's been nice that we've followed Lenny's story this season, because he's had a tough couple of seasons in Superbike. It never often runs smooth. You've been there. It's never an easy step sometimes. And to see the difference of how he was at the start of the season to how he is now, it's amazing what a taste of Prosecco does for you.
Well, it doesn't matter if you're bloody winning go-kart races or the local golf thing. If you get a trophy at the end of it and you feel like you've done the best, you're happy, aren't you? So, Superbike's such a brutal class. There's not one rider there on the grid that's not a fast rider. Even the person in 21st, position has either won something or up there. It's just the boys are so fast, and it's all about the little bits there. Like Franco Bourne, he's riding on the factory Honda, and fantastic talent, fantastic rider. He was at the front in our class, goes Superbike. Such a big step, and try to step into Superbike midway through when all the boys are on the pipe. It's a very big ask, but what an experience. He'll learn from that, and then if he does come back to Superstock, or I don't know if he's staying there with the Superbike job, but you learn so much in that little thrown in the deep end in that. So, but from Lenny's point of view, I had the same thing when I come from Superbike after I dislocated my hip, went back to Superstock with Hawk, and was on almost on to win the championship, and then unfortunately lost to Keith Farmer versus Hull, and then but it was such a nice to just be that competitive and being at the front in something that you knew. And I think that with the stock bikes, it sort of eliminates that. You got no linkages to change, no head angles and all that. So as a rider, you sort of get on a stock bike, and I say stock bike, they're fast. They're the bikes that come out now so competitive. But for a rider, as we all do, if you're not in the top 10, you always want to blame something else, even if you think you're not. And with the Superbike, you can change so much, from head angles to linkages to wheelbase to everything, that you can end up starting here and then work yourself all the way around there, trying all these parts, and end up back in the same bit. And then by then you've lost all time and everything. Where if you just probably had 5 minutes and then went back out on it, because like you do on the Superstock bike, you might make a click here, a click there, and you go back on the same bike, you're faster. So it's like, it eliminates you from going down that road in Superstock. You just know you have to do better, which I think when you take that into Superbike, and you really got to trust your judgments as a rider. So
I remember you doing both here, 2019.
No, I didn't do both.
Did you not do both?
No.
You jumped on the Superbike, didn't you? Did you not do the stock race?
No. They made that was on OMG. No, because I just come back from my stomach operation.
Ah, of course.
Yeah, so I just had a massive 12, 13 staples in my stomach, and then first ride back was at Snedden and got a third, and then Mossy had that monstrous high side into here. And then me and Shannon were driving here because we weren't out on the Friday night practice. and they asked us if we wanted to ride the superbike. So they sort of put this thing together, the Suzuki, and it was half bit of Josh Elliott's, half bit of Luke's from the bits, and then it was almost like the gay pride flag because it was half yellow,
all
half
the different
pink.
colours.
It was all a different colour on the OMG bike, so they'll call it the gay pride. So I was representing. And then, I was representing that. And then we actually had a cracking weekend. We finished, I think we got an 8th and 9th, and we only had about five laps because it rained on the Friday, on the Sunday morning. So we literally had 10 minutes on the superbike. And then I thought, geez, then they wanted to keep us going for Alton. And went to Alton Park after that bad start with my stomach and that. And then first practice session out, went into not Hizzy's, the chicane before out of Shell. Went to go through there, went to go down the box.
Britain's.
Went to go into Britain's on the half side of the tyre, downshifted, and it blipped, but it wasn't enough to select the gear. So basically give it 150 horsepower on the side of the tyre as I was braking. So basically just made me tuck the front, and then it picked up bit, and I think I slammed my head that hard against the side of my helmet, broke my collarbone before I hit the deck, and then the airbag went off and just wedged the collarbone straight down into it. And so that was pretty much the end of my season. I think I might have come back, I don't know, I can't even remember, to be fair.
That was a tough year.
Yeah, I might have done the last
and everything
year, yeah.
else.
So after you go through all that, you sort of just appreciate getting up and being healthy and riding your bike. So
that's important.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what we're going to do, Jennifer. I need the book, please. And you need to do your random question generator. We've just started doing this, and the last couple of never mind looking. We've just started this new little segment that we do. We've got a load of questions written down. We have a random question generator that Jen does, so we can't cheat, we can't pre-curse the questions, and we just hit
these gadgets out.
Just hit you with them.
We're stepping up.
We're stepping the game up, Billby. That's what we're doing. Jennifer, give us a number. 17. Okay. What's the best trip you've ever been on?
Oh, the best trip away?
Yeah.
Oh,
it's a double-edged question. I'm not so sure about.
I'll tell you what. When I was doing test riding with Triumph, and then we did the press launches, and we went to some beautiful places, and there was one where we went to Morocco, and we thought it was in the desert, so I thought it was going to be bloody warm, but it was actually like probably like -6 at night times, and we're in these glamping TPs. They probably looked the riders. The riders were probably in the same size tents as this, but all the press people and all the people that are in tent were in these massive glamping pods with heaters, Wi-Fi, and everything. But they would all get taken. All the people that are coming out because they're entertaining the people for the new Tiger launch. But so there was no Wi-Fi. There was no TV or nothing. So all we had was it was that cold at night. We only had a bonfire. And Gareth and that, because we were all cold at night, they went down and got us all these, like the Moroccan robes, like the bed robes. So we're all sitting around there, and that's where they got the idea apparently for Star Wars, for the Ewoks and these night robes. So we're all sitting around these bonfires like that, and obviously, and then all the press guys, they all went out to do the launch. So we'll just have a few drinks around there, and it was that cold, and it was that. So we had a few drinks, and then there was a pool there, and then it got up to 10 quid to jump, non-heating, to jump in there and do a full length. And I was like, nah. Then it got up to 50, 60 quid. I was like, I'll do that. And I dived in this pool, not accounting for like how really cold it would be. And then as soon as you hit the water, the first thing you do is go, and then I got a mouthful of water, and I was almost choking in there. I was like, get out. And then I said, no, I've got to do the length. And I barely got to the other end of the pool. Like struggled, and I got out and I was shaking, like my knees were going, and a few people went and got these towels, and because I had a few drinks, and I flicked my underpants on the bonfire, and I don't know, it must have been a bad fabric, but it cleared the whole place out. So it's cleared this whole place out, and it was just one of those funny memories that it was, and then it snowed, and it was just such a weird and cool place to ride through, and that was, going through these places where you had all these villages and like clay huts, and then it had like a little iPhone logo on the shop. Then you think these kids riding side saddle on these donkeys, you didn't think they had anything, they whip out a brand new iPhone and take a photo of you. And it was just, it was cool. And then, we've had heaps of those trips. So I think anything with, and there were some cool people on it as well. There's loads of the riders, and we're on it every day doing the same route. And some of them we've done Portugal with them and had some good trips. Me and Chris had a wicked time when we went to Macau to watch Davo race. TT this year, that was a sick trip. But most of all the good trips, have always been around motorbikes and having a few drinks.
It's the right thing, isn't it? It's just
it goes hand
life.
in hand,
It's
doesn't it?
living life. That's exactly what it is. What's that, 9? Ah, okay, that's interesting. Tell me one thing that you wished you'd enjoyed more.
Oh.
Tell you what, we've worked on these questions, Billby.
Yeah, tell me what is it? Tell me one thing I wished I enjoyed more.
Yeah.
Oh,
So when you look back and you think, actually, that was all right, but at the time it was difficult.
I don't know, really.
It's fine.
It's
a deep question for a Friday.
I don't know. Sometimes I feel bad in the morning for the good time that I did have. It's the other way around.
Yeah, we'll reverse it. We'll do that. 3.
Oh, good number.
Yeah, that's a really good shout, actually. What's your biggest fear?
Oh, I guess retirement.
I was going to say, I think we've already covered that.
I guess retirement, to be fair.
I think that's a fair one. Jennifer, we'll just do a couple of these. 1 to 30. 10. We've had this one, I think, before. What was the last thing you did for the first time?
Yeah. Had a baby.
I thought that might be the one. That's a perfect answer. One more for him. Number 4. It's a 2-part question.
I like the grin because I gather it's going to be a good one.
It's a 2-part question. What's your best chat-up line? And did it work?
I'm going to marry you. And yeah, it did. Well, the fair, she said, let me know how that works out for you.
And there she is.
Yeah.
Mama baby as well.
Yeah.
That's good. What are the plans there?
For
Weddings and things?
come on, Dave, stop trying to throw me under the bus here, mate.
I'm not going to throw you under the bus too far.
Yeah.
Oh, no,
What
no,
about
no.
you, Dave? Any wedding plans in the process?
Probably one day, Billby. Same as you, one day. When I'm grown up and I'm allowed to do it, then... but in my defence, we've both been there once.
Oh, my defence as well, same. And it cost me a shitload of money.
Have you been there as well?
Yeah.
I never realised that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we won't go down that
No,
story,
we're not going
mate.
down that. There's no questions about that
It's
one.
not that sort of chat show, is it?
It really isn't. All I want to do, mate, is wish you all the best for the rest of the weekend. Thank you for spending some time with us this afternoon. It's always a pleasure. And wish you all the best for the rest of the season. And congratulations on Charlie and Nads as well, mate.
Thank you very much,
So
guys.
happy
And
for you.
awesome doing this podcast and absolutely awesome to listen to them all as well, mate. Really proud of you guys.
Thanks,
Keep it up.
Billby.
Cheers.
Appreciate that, mate.